traffic study that was done. My concern is just what some folks were talking about just recently was there was another accident on Mill Street where somebody came around the bend and ran into one of my neighbor's homes. It's definitely a huge concern. I know maybe last year or so I had asked about like speed bumps or something like that, just to be able to slow down the traffic because folks come around that corner flying. And my concern is especially when a lot of these kids are walking to school, when they try to cross, if you cross by Green, it's a blind spot. If you cross by Cherry, it's a blind spot. And so my greatest concern is that one of these kids are gonna get hurt. And I know that we talked about it before that it was a county road, but is there anything that we can do or you guys can do as the folks who make the executive decisions for the town to kind of fight for us and say, hey, there's a safety issue here, right? So, and that's only when it's dry. So when there's some snow or if it's a little bit colder and it's, raining, it's slippery. And it's happened since I've been back in Mount Holly for 6 years, 2 of my neighbors' homes have been ran into. Now, one of my neighbors that lives across the street,
They were both on Mill Street?
Yep. 127, and then the one across the street, it's 118 to 120, but the one that's right next to it, that also was ran into as well. Now, my neighbor across the street, her car has been hit 4 times in the last 8 months. And it's all from folks flying around that bend. And if anything, we don't have as much parking. I'm one of the fortunate ones that has a driveway. Even if some folks were not able to park in a certain part of Mill Street because their cars are getting hit, something should be done. The other thing I wanted to ask about as well is we've had these communications that are coming out from the Bridgeton News. I know that last year we did have a referendum for us to become nonpartisan, but I'm not sure if there was also something that came out where it kind of changed our form of government, because the only thing that I see is, I appreciate the things that you do, Mr. Mayor, but the only thing that I see is Mayor Chris Banks and Town Council. It doesn't seem as though there's a collaborative effort. And I think that a lot of us would like to see what the other council members are doing as well. So I don't know if, some folks may be a little bit confused that just moved here, but as far as I see, we are a council manager type of government, not a mayor council type of government. So I'd like to know what other folks are doing on the council to be able to assist. For instance, with the commissioners, some of those commissioners are assigned to Parks and Recreation. Some of them are assigned to the elderly or to the veterans. What can we expect from our current council members? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in that row? All right, we're going with the last row. All right.
You getting it or not?
That's why I turned it off.
Yeah, but you can't hear it.
Okay, so maybe they could turn it on. It's just one little switch, right? So maybe we could each turn it on.
Last row.
I'll leave that to that.
You're not gonna hear me.
You can turn
You
it,
just-
if you turn it, I'm sorry, here. If you can turn it on when you're speaking, it's just that when you walk away, you just have to turn it off.
I'm Beverly Sweeney. I live at 19 Washington Street, and I'm here to announce to everyone that there's a meeting, the candidates night, to hear what everybody has to offer the town. It's at the Mount Holly Friends Meeting House on 81 High Street, Mount Holly, on Tuesday, October 15th at 7 o'clock. And that's everybody's invited. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sweeney.
Thank you. Yeah, if you could just flip the
If you can.
switch.
That switch.
We got it. Thank you, Ms. Sweeney.
Thanks.
You.
Anyone else?
That's sound advice right there.
I didn't hear.
The baby.
Future councilperson of Mount.
Hello. Hi, Arlene Pfeiffer, 494 Mary Street. We did talk about history for a while, but I am concerned that with that little ordinance that planning board's trying to change, I've already seen issues on Facebook of a building, historic building on High Street that wants to put vinyl siding on their building. I understand costs, but if you're a business in Mount Holly, even if your facade, you keep it as a wood, you do your side or your back vinyl, we have to keep our facades looking beautiful and historic. An historical building is something of architecture, of age and architecture. It's not my house, it's not your house. My house is not going to be historical in 100 years because it has no architecture, no history, nothing valuable to look at. I understand the costs, but we really have to look at, just in our historic district, our whole town is not historic. It's just a few areas. Our main streets coming in should always look their best. The only other thing would be the creek, because I always talk about the creek. Our mill race was hand dug by the Gaskell brothers, the father and the two sons, back in 1720. It took them 3 years to dig that creek, and that was done for our industry. They did water mills, we did everything down there. Our problem is that the mill race is falling in on itself. We have a large area of one wall right behind Buono's that has collapsed, and cars park there. It's just a matter of time with all the debris that keeps going in there and everything falling in to have a problem back there. It's the same thing that we've had down south with all the flooding. We're gonna have it happen again. Our creek is filling in, it's silting in. We have to find some kind of grants or something to start looking at dredging. Otherwise, we're gonna have another flooded downtown. And that affects our infrastructure and specifically our old homes. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? Anyone else that hasn't spoke that's standing up in the back?
How y'all doing?
How are you, sir?
My name's Edwin Johnson, 33 West Monroe Street, Mount Holly. Here to talk about this driveway, the safety, the speeding down Monroe Street. Cars occasionally burning rubber in Monroe Park. Kids are out late on Monroe Street. I gotta keep my light on. Afraid that they're gonna fall down and hurt themselves. And you know, I don't know how far this is going to keep going on. I mean, I've been promised that somebody's going to come out, and you know, I feel like things are being just kicked under the table. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, I understand. Is Monroe and Bismarck historical, or is it not? I've been hearing this since. You know, so I just want to know: is it?
I'm not sure. Is it historical?
Is it historical? I see a lot of people doing a lot of things. You know, ripping down half roofs and just doing the one side and not the other side. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of fishy stuff on Monroe Street, and I got to put cameras up at my house now because you know, my car's been hit. The lady got her car fixed. She got her car fixed, but I took a picture and everything. But you know, it's just I've been here since 1996. I own my property. I've been through nothing but hell. And I've been on this since 2017 when they moved in and got that place cheap, dirt cheap. And you know, they got a shed, it's right on the fence like this, and the fire hydrant's right there. If a fire ever happens down there, where the firefighters going to go? You know, it's not 5 feet off, it's supposed to be 5 feet off the fence, off the fence and all, it's not, you know, like, people are just doing what they wanna do down, there's no parking, no nothing, somebody's gonna get killed. And I pray to God it doesn't happen, but there's a lot of kids on my street, and like I said, I gotta keep my lights on, and I'm glad to hear that he's all for the historical, because, you know, this is a good place to live, you know, and, you know, they don't teach this stuff in school no more, you know, but, something's gotta be done. I mean, I'm being promised, you know, I'm not an user person, and, you know, but I need somebody's gotta make, I mean, you can tell, it's homemade driveway, moved it over, I'm cutting his grass, and, you know, they hit my car, it's just gotta stop. You know, I need somebody to come out, you know, genuinely, like caring, you know, like, I don't feel like I ain't got a voice. I don't feel like I got a voice here, you know?
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, my name is Rebecca. I live on 55 White Street. I just want to piggyback off the gentleman that just left. Being on White Street, there's a lot of traffic. Now that they built those houses back there, we have less parking areas. When the construction is going on back there, we can't get to our homes. There's times like one time, Lumberton Police was helping my Holly out, and I needed to park and I'm a mom of 6, this is my youngest, and I had to get to my home. They allowed me to park where it's like a little factory warehouse I never see anybody use it. It seems to be vacant, but then at times you think it's vacant, and then someone gets a ticket for parking in that little spot. Lumberton Police allowed me to park there because there was nowhere for me to go because of the houses that are being built, the PSC&G, Blockness, or American Water, anything that they got going on. And then to where cars are flying from Monroe to Bishop, coming down to I think I'm White, Bud, or behind me, I believe, where the shops is, to where my son is now 5 and he's exploring. He wants to go outside all the time, and I'll be worried that something's gonna happen. And it's a lot more families back there. It's not like how it was before COVID, where there was a lot of families. There's so many more families between Monroe, Bishop, and White, where our children is out there playing in the street. They took the park away from where the field is. It wasn't a big park, it was a little jungle gym. That was there one day, then it was gone. So where now the kids is looking for things. I don't like to send my kids all the way to Mill Dam by themselves, because that street, Pine Street, is always, cars flying down there. So it's like, what else can we get back there for the children again? I know last month y'all said that the Little League deals with that little field next to the Coughlin field. So where I joined the Little League team to talk to them. We got a meeting tomorrow to see if I can get them to put up the little jungle gym back. But is there a way to be able to force more stop signs back there where they're not flying? Especially now we have more, the houses behind my house, people bought them houses already. So now we got more cars that's gonna be parked in there to where you can't see the blind spots. And I'm definitely concerned as a mom that something is going to happen to somebody's child or mine if it's not going to be done, if anything's not going to be able to be fixed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else that's standing up?
Good evening, Michael Rothnell, 33 Union Street. And I just want to talk, because I picked up some themes, I think, from hearing people talk tonight. One, with regard to the historical district in Mount Holly, you can ask where it is, but I think if you talk to the people here, plus or minus, everyone would know it's like Ridgeway, Broad, Union, Garden, High. maybe some on Madison and Mill Race. So you can know what the historic commission is, historic district is. You have the will to say we need to preserve it. And the fact that nothing's been done since 2022 and you got notice it was a problem is scary. And the same thing is true with the public safety. You know, since 2018, we haven't had an emergency preparedness plan, and we had the state trooper come at a council meeting, and we still don't have one. But I heard the officers tonight speak. It was very concerning to have only 2 officers on the road. If you have a domestic violence incident, 2 officers are required to appear. If 2 officers go to the house for a domestic, that means there's no police to patrol the rest of the town. Those things can take a couple of hours to do. It's malpractice not to have a fully functional police department. And we can fund it. The fact we've been giving out pilots left and right to people, and we just approved a pilot a couple of meetings ago, or last meeting, is terrible. I mean, if you have to tax properties at full value to pay for a police department, it's worth it, because you're also cheating the schools by approving all these pilots. We don't have money for the police. And it's a shame. And then what they did is they opened Thursday evening. If you don't have enough police to patrol the area, but now the latest they're open is 5:30, and it's only 30 hours a week. Maybe you need to count the hours, which is not enough for people to do business here, who work full-time jobs. And it's not enough for you guys to do your business. Just like we used to have 2 meetings a month, and now we only have 1 meeting a month. I don't think it's enough time to get township business done. We need a full-time township staff, and we need a full-time council to address the issues that our citizens are addressing here tonight. And, and then we'd have less obstacles and more time to actually work on the problems that we're facing, more time to work with other townships in the county to get things done that affect us. And things would be better. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Audrey Winsinger, 2 Washington Street. So along with about 40 other residents and property owners, I went to the master plan re-examination because that plan is going to guide us for another decade. And we were all pretty interested. So we all listened to Ms. Gardy give boilerplate, and in there she said the plan was available for 10 days before, which is required by law. And it was available for us to all look at, and I assume for the folks on the planning board to look at as well. And it was over 100 pages, so we all tried to look at it, but it was not available for 10 days before. It was available for 24 hours before, as far as I can tell. I don't know if anybody from the planning board had more than that time to see it. I did not have more than that time to see it, nor did the 40 people that were there with me. We did all stand up and say that to Ms. Gardy. She did not avail herself of doing what I think was the right thing, which would have been to listen to everybody and carry on with that hearing that night, and then maybe put it off for possibly a vote at another date, so that we all would be able to spend more time, and possibly her board members spend more time taking a look at it and being able to really digest it, since it was going to control and guide us for quite some time. So that was a bit of a problem. But the one thing that I did glean out of it, at least since then, is that there was a section in there that said, and I know people have referred to it tonight, but it says the Mount Holly Committee is in the process of amending its master plan land use ordinance to remove the township's current historic preservation program. And I don't know what your program is. Maybe you know. Maybe you'll tell us. I don't know. But I don't know what the program is, which it found too restrictive in nature and an obstacle to future redevelopment. And I didn't know how you knew that. So I was wondering, I'm a data girl, right? So I need to know about that. Did you figure that out because you said, boy, it's really It has stood in the way of future redevelopment. We have a lot of data to hang that on, and we know it, and we'd like to tell you about that data. Or did something happen that I missed? Because I pay attention, I'd love to know about it. And then I thought, well, okay, redevelopment. They didn't say development, they said redevelopment. So I thought, I better look that up, I better figure out what that is. So I thought, what's the difference between development and redevelopment? So look that up. I said, well, development. The development says that development is the process of improving real estate. I like that. So, redevelopment, replacing old buildings. I think I know where you're going. I think I got it.
Anyone else in the back that's standing up and didn't have a chance to speak?
Amber Coperhouse, 100 Madison Avenue. My first question is about the pilot that's on the agenda for tonight. Looking in the packet that's posted online, it references an Appendix A, which I don't see online to actually have any information about the amendment for the pilot. So I was wondering first if anybody could just share that information. So it is for 99, the 2024-99, and so it's the resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment for a pilot with the Mount Holly Senior Housing LP, and then in the packet there's referenced an appendix or addendum A, but I couldn't access that online.
It's for Samuel Miller, which is senior affordable housing. They've had a pilot with us where we receiving $16,000. It's increased to $20,000.
Okay, all right, thanks. Just reaching out and kind of had access. I guess that kind of slipped through. Which kind of leads me into the planning board meeting that people have been discussing. And just the lack of accessibility of that master plan ahead of time, which many people at that meeting attested to. And even just kind of, it speaks volumes that the idea is we're either supposed to email somebody to access it or go into the town in person, because when people pointed out that it's difficult to get into the town offices when they're open, like my husband would have to take time off of work to go to our town building when they are open. There are no hours, and he works a pretty standard office job. So just that lack of accessibility, and I asked at the planning board meeting if there is an issue, I believe the chairman, I asked him, like, why, is there something preventing the town from just making these things available online ahead of time, like the master plan? Like, can that be posted as a PDF instead of people having to physically go to the building? Is there something, like, is there something kind of like statutory that prevents that, or is there?
No, we can look into, I thought it would be available online by now, but we'll look into that.
Well, even though like ahead of time, like the first meeting about it already happened, and when people raised that they couldn't get into the office.
I'll touch base with the board secretary and like that.
Okay, thank you, because I mean, people are, we're just trying to get information. And in a similar vein, I just want to say that I appreciate the extra time tonight and the more general back and forth, because that was my experience at the planning board meeting, which should kind of be a baseline, I think. But it was Mr. Fox, who was there from the firm, super helpful, answered our questions, and so that was really appreciated. However, as far as like the content of it, I do just want to reiterate what other people have been saying with my concerns about the Historic Commission and the lack thereof potentially, and that there is so much money available in grants and funding, but we have to have the commission. And so I agree completely with concerns about, we don't want to price people out of homes, we don't want people to be unable to make repairs in their homes that they're already living in. But we can make funding available if we hold on to that commission and make it a priority as a town. but that has to come from council. Individuals can't, as you've heard, just do this on our own. So I would really just like to see that continue and actually be improved, and have a historic committee come back. And just to again reiterate, but you know, a lot came up with the traffic, and in that master plan, there's a discussion of how some of our roads are, you know, at or anticipated to exceed capacity. And so, especially since this master plan is so overdue, and we've had some really nasty accidents recently, all of these things seem to intersect, and I would just like to see some more, you know, like urgency in addressing some of these matters, which I think is kind of a common theme with a lot of issues in here. But just, you know, we have it in the report that's far overdue, and then we're witnessing kind of the effects of that. And then when we look at the town budget and there's nothing budgeted for capital improvements, I just don't know how this is gonna work, how anything's gonna kind of happen. And, you know, I mean, there's a saying, especially in government, show me your budget and I'll tell you what you value, what your priorities are. And I think a lot of people in this room just feel like our budget isn't reflecting some of our values. And I think the last thing that I just want to bring up, I feel like I bring it up every month, but you know, and I'm a broken record, but accessibility is such an important thing. And I heard multiple people again tonight apologizing because they have trouble hearing. And no one should be made to feel like they have to apologize for trying to access public space and public meetings. That's just not acceptable. Because the burden shouldn't be on them to have to come in and advocate every single time and be apologetic about having a very basic need. I just can't fathom why this hasn't been addressed. So yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
Good job.
We have room for one more standing in the back, or two?
Robert Allen, 704 Bloomfield Drive, West Hampton, captain in the fire department. I just want to get some information. Wednesday, October 9th, we will be a career day at the high school from 6:30 to 8:30. So I don't want to hear everybody say that we're not present. We're always looking for volunteers. We have applications here if you want to join, fire, police, whatever it may be, we'll take you. We're 100% volunteer. I've been doing this since 2002. So that's it.
All right, this gentleman's last one.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, folks. My name is David Villalba, 166 Ranconcos Road. I'd like to thank Chief Spencer for coming here and his officer. I think that shows a good example of him wanting to pay attention and hear our views. I welcome him to the town. I think it helps and it goes hand in hand with him having activities with the school. If they can work together, as the gentleman just said now, the chief, that they can go to the school and show what they do to try to recruit, to try to have a ongoing relationship with the students. I think that'll help a lot. I know that one of my questions is there any grants committee, as one of the ladies have mentioned, and if are we vying for them, are we going after them, and if we're not, why not? I know you're not going to address all of our concerns, and that's one of the issues here, that you're not addressing everyone's concern. You should probably put transparency and go online. You handed out oh, very important. Are you guys going to attend this? The meeting, that's a young lady, are you on the board going to attend it?
What is that? Which
meeting? This meeting here is Meet the Candidates tonight.
Meet the candidates?
Are you going to attend it?
No.
Mr.
I
Banks?
have to check my calendar for that.
Mr. Doc Brown? I like to have everyone, are you going to attend it, the ladies?
They're not running,
Are you-
they're not candidates.
Everyone should attend it. Everyone should attend it so that we can know where they stand and the candidates, so that you can give your opinion and they can give theirs. One of the other things that's concerning is, one of the reasons I moved to the town is because they had a theater. And that theater, I'm sure you all know, is on Mill Street. And now it's closed. And I am so disappointed. I had a lot of friends in New York City that are gonna come up. A lot of friends in other towns that are gonna come up and attend that theater. Why isn't that theater going? Maybe we should work on that as well. Getting those buildings going and getting the theater open. That's a great service. That will invite the local towns surrounding the area. That'll give us one of the reasons why we're a historical town and why we're a progressive town as well. And it's my understanding, I spoke to the commissioner and I spoke to some of their assistants. In order for them to do something, the county, you have to address it to them. They don't have to address it to you. I've gone to the Burlington County. I've spoken to them. I've asked for stoplights, this, that, the other. They said I have to speak to you. You have to send the request to them. Once that's made, then they can move forward from there.
That was done on the Branch Street, just so you know. The issue that was brought up, the Branch Street traffic issue.
Yeah, and the other thing,
That was.
well, on everything.
We reached out, I know,
On
we're
everything.
hearing these new issues tonight, and this is.
No, that's great, and I'm glad you addressed that. I really am. But it's on everything, and
No, I understand.
everything that they mentioned here. And as far as volunteering, I volunteer. I like to help you with anything, so if we can exchange, I'll give you my number. And if there's any other volunteering, I raise my hand. I tell you, the last time I was here, I cut the creek trees down, or the creek branches down, and cleared that out, the needles and the drugs and everything else that was involved there, the cans, the beers. No one has picked that up on the side of the road. There's a lot of branches. One of the ladies did mention, you have a great maintenance company with a crane that'll go up and cut the trees down. There's a lot of trees in the area that aren't doing that. There's a lot of concerns that the town really has and addresses to you. I don't know if it's smoke and mirrors. I don't know if you guys are just listening to us and it's going in one ear and out the other. But I would like a website where you can say, hey, we're addressing your problems. Oh, get back to those people who have a problem. Address the lady and let her know. We're going to work on that, and we're going to do it by next month or next year.
Yards of each grave, and we get supported by them for that too. The Major General at Fort Dix in I forget what year it was. I was at the Catholic cemetery waiting for, because we had parades in. We don't know more. I was talking to the driver of this vehicle. I'm taking a little bit longer, but please.
Just finish your thought.
The driver of the vehicle, we was talking, I was at the door, and the back door opened, and who stepped out? A Major General, the Fort Dix Commanding General. Stopped out of that vehicle, which shocked me. I didn't expect it, because generals don't ride vans. But anyway, he told me, quote unquote, this is the most unpatriotic town he's ever been in, and he ain't never coming back again. And I couldn't understand why he did that. Because this is a military retirement town, well, it used to be. Fort Dix, McGuire, they used to buy homes in this town. I'm one of them. I'm a retiree, First Sergeant, United States Army. I'm also retired U.S. Postal Service. Yeah, I'm a triple dipper, but I want to help people. I want to help the school, and I want to help all the people that's got problems in this town to voice their opinion and try to get some restitution. We can't thank our public service, police department, fire department, EMTs, and our town council to do the right job. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. So, Josh, you have anything to add? Nothing to add. Thank you, sir. Tom?
Thank you, Mayor.
Nothing to add? Ms. Burke?
Yep. First of all, thank you, Nick and team who pulled together the traffic petition. Looking forward to reading through it. It looks to me at first glance like there's at least 50 names on there. I know that it's a process and a partnership with the county to try to get things done on some of our roads, but I'm sure that it will be helpful to know the urgency and know that there's that many people represented, even in that very small area, about how crucial it is that we move on making things a little safer around here in partnership with the county, so thank you. A couple things about the Historic Commission. I want to be crystal clear about a few things. I am absolutely 100% supportive of having a highly functioning Historic Commission in town. We're watching this, some of this slip through our fingers, and it is making me panic just as much as it's making you guys panic. A couple of things though I want to say, maybe to temper a little bit some of maybe what our mayor was saying, which is, yes, I've heard about situations where sometimes they can, a historical commission may get a bit of a reputation about making things more expensive or making things more difficult. I believe that a fully functioning, educated, and fully resourced historical commission actually works in a little bit of a different way, which is work with those owners to find ways to do it, to do what they need to do in a way that doesn't damage the historical look and feel of our downtown. So I just want to be clear that that's something that needs to be a focus for us. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sherry, the applications for those types of boards and commissions will be out soon, right? It's October. So we'll make sure that we get it out there for the application for joining a historical commission, as well as any other, many other boards and commissions in town will come out, and we generally get those end of year-ish, right?
Yeah, November.
We asked for them,
Yeah, we asked for them, and then,
yeah. We asked for them.
Normally the first, not reorganization, but the first meeting of the month.
Right, so we asked for them, I think, by the end of November, early December, something like that, and we can confirm, of course. And then, we take those into consideration, and those appointments happen not at the reorg meeting, but the meeting after. So there is a process in place. I think we just need to be a lot more clear with people about how to jump right into the stream and volunteer and spend time and your valuable resources on helping make sure that we maintain the historical value of our town. The Burlington County Commissioners meeting, for somebody who asked early on, is October 9th at 7 p.m. The public portion of it starts, and that's at 49 Rancocas Road. I appreciate everybody coming out. I know it was a long, hot, very difficult to hear one, but it is important. I am incredibly encouraged at the fact that we have so many people that come out. I remember years ago when I would just attend these meetings, and there'd be maybe 4 or 5 of us in the room. You can't do a whole lot if you're not hearing from everybody. So we don't know every corner, every little neighborhood, every nook and cranny of the town, so it's important that you guys are coming out and making sure that we hear from you. So I appreciate it. I know it's not easy. I want to also mention that a while ago, I did ask to be put on the agenda to increase the speaking moments for our public to 6 minutes, as well as to add the second meeting per month. I think I talked about this a while ago. There's a resolution that was passed, it's passed every year, so that our mayor and our township manager, along with Sherry, of course, because she creates the agendas, are the ones who decide what is put and what is not put on the agenda, although that actually flies in the face of the type of town we are within the Faulkner Act. That's why we have to have that resolution. And I was declined to have that put on our agenda, so I just want you to know it's not something that's being ignored on a whole up here. Let's see. The Bridgeton News, I do have a question. Who writes it, who pays for it, and who directs what's inside? I get it in the mail, just like, I'm not even sure I got one in the mail. I think you gave me one. I didn't get one. But who writes it, who directs what is in it, and who pays for it?
Usually I direct what should go into it, and somebody else comes up with the content.
Who's the somebody else who comes up with the content?
It would either be the communication director or the consulting firm.
Oh, you have a consulting firm. Okay. Did our communications director contribute to this one?
He supplied some photos and some content.
Okay. No. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we're careful. If we have a communications director, I would imagine that would be one of the primary. Yeah. Oh, Josh said he submitted. Which part didn't you hear?
Any of it.
Can you just repeat that? Who writes it, who pays for it, and who directs what's inside, Josh, for them to hear?
I usually provide content because as departments ask me questions and I give answers in the newsletter, either the communication
provides the content, helps with the content, correct?
Ma'am, can you repeat what you said?
And the taxpayer pay for it,
They pay for every newsletter.
for every newsletter. There's been one this year? Two?
We try to get out of there.
Okay.
There have been two.
I heard it. There's two, right? There's one earlier in the year? Okay.
Could you repeat the answers for us, please? We can't hear a thing back here.
Yeah.
And he could face us
So
when he's speaking.
there were two newsletters that went out this year, right? One in probably, what, spring, fall?
Or early winter.
Early winter. And the content that's provided in those newsletters are from the communications director and the consulting firm that we use to put the information together. Anything else that you didn't hear? Okay.
And they just pick it randomly, who's the content randomly?
Yeah, that's okay. No, well, they weren't able to hear, so it needed to be repeated.
The
Okay.
manager says what
And
the
then-
content should be, and then somebody else writes it.
Thanks,
And then
Nick.
again, yeah, this is what should happen. How can we help? I just want to reiterate how everybody can help. Again, if you.
Why don't you pass the microphone around so we can hear?
Okay. Well, I'm done. I think I yelled. I think you guys can hear me. Okay, thank you. That's it. Again, thanks for everybody for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're about to have a riot.
Before I make my comments, how many people in the room received a newsletter in the mail?
You want to raise your hands, how many did receive it?
I just want to get an idea. I didn't get one, and neither did Kim. Because I did have a lot of questions because you, the taxpayers, pay for it. We didn't know it was coming out. I found out from a random person who was the one lucky person that got a newsletter. And I just feel that if you're paying for it, you should receive it. And secondly, that we didn't even know it was coming out. And actually, our own communication director, his Oktoberfest festival had the wrong date. It's October 13th, not the 12th. But it's a bigger issue of, you know, we weren't even consulted to provide content of any kind. And I do feel that to be more collaborative, I'm sure all of you would like to hear from all of us, just like Ms. Casey Carty said, that we all do different things in town, we're involved in different things, or might just know of something that's going on that you might want to hear about. So apologies that you didn't get it. We didn't even know it was being made. I made questions in regards to who was involved in making it. Clearly we used a consulting firm. I prefer to do that differently. And then to go on to, I don't want to miss events coming up. Veterans Day Memorial Service up at Veterans Park at High and Ridgely, November 11th, 11 a.m., 11, always the same, and that we will celebrate Veterans Day. There happens to be a harvest festival this Saturday in Mill Race, I believe 12 to 5 p.m., very family friendly, a lot of things for kids, really excited about that. We need more family friendly things. And then, let me see, I'm going to try to answer a few questions as best I could. For the planning board master plan, I did attend, because I think it's very important, whenever we can, to go to the different meetings in town, so that we know what our planning board is doing, what the UBC is doing, what the environmental committee is doing, because, you know, we as council, we appoint people to those boards and committees. The master plan meeting, I know our Mayor Chris Banks was absent, our Deputy Mayor Jason Jones was absent, Rich DeFalco was absent, Paul Kennedy and Darlene Green. So there were 5 individuals that did not come to the master plan meeting that's literally going to decide the plan for the next 10 years, and I was disappointed. But anyway, and for the Historic Commission, you've already heard, I'll say it again, I'm all for Historic Commission, and I think if you have a robust Historic Commission and people that know what they're doing, you can get grant money, and then therefore help people who have a historic home or business, who may need to fix the building, but need to do it appropriately, and if you know, all the gears are in motion, we can actually get the money to help them do those things. And if you ever travel, you know, going to beautiful old historic places with beautiful historic downtowns and architecture, who doesn't love that? So I would love to save it, but still not hurt people financially. I think we can do both. So definitely support that. And I say, like, any time that you have a concern about an elected official, research their record. Ask for the minutes. You can always ask them directly. If you are unhappy about something, find out how they voted. It also goes for Congress too and state. I'll happily tell anyone how I voted at any time. Boards and committees. The boards and committees for Environmental Committee, Planning Board, the MUA, the UEZ, heck, the Historic Commission is on it. It is on the Township website. If you go and you see forms and documents, you click on it, it's about the third or fourth one down. It's never too early. I know in the past, the deadlines were usually around December 20th, 21st. So I will post that on Facebook so people know. But if you go to Township website, you can click that application and fill out to join any committee or board. And I would really like to find new blood. We've had some of the same people rotating around and around and around on all the different boards and committees, and I'd love to harness all the talent and knowledge that we have in town. So I know a lot of you out there are really awesome, and would love to see you on some boards and committees. And I think, I don't want to miss anything. There was so much information. I'm never going to get to all of it as far as specific answers. And this is something else I wanted to address that tied into the newsletter and us not knowing about it. I don't know if my fellow councilmen knew about it. But also events. The VFW and the American Legion are awesome at inviting us personally to any events and ceremonies. The county has been great at inviting us to ceremonies. Every time we have an official township event, I don't get an invitation. I have to find out where to be and where to go and invite myself. And sometimes I don't end up knowing where to go or what to do. And I think it's a problem. And I think we need to be more inclusive as a council. I know Kim Burkus as well, whether it's the St. Patrick's Day Parade, the Christmas tree lighting, 4th of July, we are not invited to our own township events. And it's insulting, and I'd like our township to do better. Thank you and have a great night. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
Ms. Burkus took what I was going to give, the information that I didn't have earlier, so thank you. I appreciate that. Just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and have a good rest of your week.
All right, let me finish up. I appreciate everybody's comments. We appreciate everybody coming here tonight. It's always important to listen, and I always tell you, we do our best with the resources that we have. And if you have any questions, like I said, I'm always available. You can email me, or I'm here if you have any questions you want to talk. I don't want to take too much of your time because I know it's late. I didn't have dinner. I don't know if you guys had dinner or anything like that, but glad you guys came to, express yourself. And our next meeting is going to be November 18th, right here in this building. So we can, like I said, we'll say good night to you guys and thank you again. And with that, if all in favor to adjourn? Motion to adjourn.